All right, today we're going to start talking about factoring when we have a trinomial and that the coefficient of our first term is 1. So, factoring polynomials, and this is our qualifications here for when our degree is 2, so we have a quadratic. That just means my largest exponent is 2. The number of terms is 3, so I have 3 terms. And the coefficient of the squared term is 1. Okay, so those are the 3 things that we have to have in order. So it should look like this right here. So here are our steps to factoring. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw 2 sets of parentheses. When we factor this, we're going to have 2 sets of parentheses, 2 things that are multiplying together. And the first term in each of those parentheses is going to be an x. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to draw an x puzzle. In the top is going to be my last term, the c. And in the bottom is going to be my b. So we're looking for what numbers that will multiply to the top number that will add to equal the bottom number. From there, we just need to figure out, of our factors, what would the sign be? Okay, I'll have a little hint here for you on how to figure that out in the next slide. We're going to solve my x puzzle and put my answer in the parentheses. From there, we can check our work by just multiplying the 2 polynomials back out. All right, so let's look at when our c is negative. Okay, we have 2 possibilities. Either b is going to be positive or b is going to be negative. Okay, if b is positive, so like this example here, I've got 2x plus b minus c. Well, then I'm going to have one positive, one negative, right? That's the only way for c to be negative, is one of the factors to be negative. So my bigger factor, though, is going to be positive. If b is negative and c is negative, then my bigger factor will be negative. Okay, so when b is positive and c is negative, then my bigger factor is positive. When b is negative and c is negative, then my bigger factor is negative. Okay, so when c is positive and b is positive, well, then both my factors are positive. If b is negative, then both of my factors have to be negative. All right, so I've got this problem here first. So we're going to fill in our first thing we got to do is draw our parentheses, right? And we're going to put k in both of those. So now we need to look at the factors of a negative 40 that are going to add to 3. So let's look at factors of 40. We're not going to worry about the negative here in just a minute. So I've got 1 and 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, and 5 times 8. Now, since 40 is negative, I know one of my 2 factors has to be negative. Now, since b is positive, then I know my bigger factor has to be positive. So I can make all of my small factors negative. Then all I have to look at is if I add these 2 together, am I going to get 3? Well, negative 1 plus 40 is going to equal 39. Negative 2 plus 20 gives me positive 18. Negative 4 plus 10 gives me 6. Negative 5 plus 8 gives me 3. So here's my factor set that I'm going to use. 5 and 8. Or sorry, negative 5 and 8. So we have negative 5 times 8 gives me negative 40. Okay. Let's try another one. My B is 15. My C is 50. Oh, and let's go ahead and draw our parentheses. Okay. So we're looking at factors of 50 that will add to 15. So we've got 1 times 50, 2 times 25, 5 times 10, whoops, okay. And those are it for our factors. 6 isn't a factor of 50, 7 isn't, 8 isn't, and 9 isn't. All right, so both of my things are positive, so that tells me I'm going to be adding on both. So that means since both are positive, I don't have to worry about the sign. So we can just add, well, 1 plus 50 equals 51. 2 plus 25 gives me 26. And 5 plus 10 equals 15. So my factors are 5 and 10. So I get x plus 5 times x plus 10 as my answer. All right, we are going to look at one more. So I've got x squared minus 49. So we know what our C is in this, but we are missing something. This is only a binomial, right? Not a trinomial. So we need to make it a trinomial to be able to factor it, which all I have to do is put 0x, right? Because 0 times anything is 0, okay? So this tells me I'm looking for factors of negative 49 that will add to equal 0. Now you're going to pick up a pattern here, the more you do of these, of what that number should be, and if it's possible. All right, so factors of 49. Well, we have 1 times 49. The only other factor set we have is 7 times 7. Now, in order to get 0, I need one of these to be positive and one of these to be negative, right? Also, in order to get a negative 49, I need to be 1 positive, 1 negative. Well, since 0 is positive, right, we could technically make this smaller. Well, 1 plus 49 is 48. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So my factors are negative 7 and 7. So I get x minus 7 times x plus 7. All right, that's all I have for you in this video. I will see you in the next.